the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sameti. The YouTube guys. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are joined today by a very special guest, Mr. Jason Orphalos. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
Good.
I apologize to everyone for the tardiness. A couple of scheduling things happened at the last minute, trying to squeeze things in. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Frank G. Tickle the algorithm, smash the like, ding the bell, subscribe.
Hey.
Back, Octopus Cowboy. Heck yeah.
What's up, Frog G?
What's better than a cowboy with a 6-shooter? One with 8 of them. Nice. So, welcome to the show. This is your very first time here, so it's great to have you. As is customary on my channel, I like to kind of try and do a deeper dive with the creator, get to know you better. Would you mind sharing with us, like, what it was like growing up, what you were into? Was it toys, cartoons, comic books, movies, TV, and what were the major milestones in your life that led you to becoming an independent creator?
Well, not really a lot to do when I was a kid. There wasn't a lot of channels in the Philippines, you know what I mean? So whenever I got my hand on any comic strips or comic books, I would just try to draw, and that's all I did. Just draw, play outside, no computers, you know what I mean? No internet.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a lot of time. And as much as I like the studying comics, like anatomy and everything, I like the stylized sketchiness of Dennis the Menace, Snoopy, Marmaduke. You know, I also, of course, there was Spider-Man comic strips back in those. They're still probably around nowadays also, but I would try to get like the Spider-Man's face and the webbing, and I would count it, every single one, and I would expect it to be exact, even when the perspective, even when the view is a side view, 3/4, you know what I mean? And if it's not the same number, but it usually is, if it's not the same number, webbing and detail, I would get confused. It would not make sense to me. It would break that illusion for me. So I would just study and study a lot and draw a lot and sketch a lot. That's what I did when I was a kid.
Oh, wow. All right. So it was a matter of you were comparing like one strip to the next one, and if it didn't match up, if they had similar poses, similar angle, if they didn't match up on the number of lines, like on the webs of Spider-Man's costume, then it kind of threw you off.
It would throw me off. Like if Captain America had of course, you know, like that would be easy. How many stripes on his shield or his torso? I would expect it. You know, I would expect it to be right. It doesn't matter the angle. And like, for example, if it has a gun or another character, I mean, you know, of course, he doesn't have a gun, would have a gun, a holster here, and it's not there when he turns around.
Oh.
It would throw me off, and I don't know, because I guess it was so realistic for me, like to get inside that panel, to be drawn in as a kid. So I expected that, you know. So even on cartoons like Snoopy, like Dennis the Menace is very stylized, but when you turn his head, it's like his haircut is the same. You know what I mean? It should be different. You know, And, oh, okay. So this is stylized because I was very young. Okay, so this is stylized. I get it. This one is different. So yeah, that's how we distinguished it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's figuring things out. Those lines, what they meant. How fast was that when when an artist was drawing it? I mean, was he slow? No, I figured out when you draw. I keep going back to Dennis the Menace because it took me, and Garfield also. You
Yes.
know, I would figure out that it was not only the line, but how fast they did that line for it to come out like that. So it's not just going slow. It can't be the same speed. Like when inkers know this, even pencilers, you can't achieve that same line on a slow speed. It has to be fast, or else it's gonna be jittery. So yeah, stuff like that. I like figuring out how the artist did it.
Oh, it's like you're breaking down the mechanics of it all.
Yeah.
Welcome, Mario Blackness. Dude.
Hello.
The Adventures of Taylor. Yeah, that's a good book. That's a good book indeed. So in the Philippines, did they distribute comic strips much like they did in the States, where we had newspapers that were rolled up and everything, and back in the day, in its heyday, comic strips actually constituted like 4 to 6 pages of the newspaper, and it was like a major feature because it was what a lot of people gravitated to because they didn't want to hear about the news all the time. And then they distribute the papers. People would have subscriptions to newspapers. Kids would have newspaper routes delivering them until time passed and newspapers dedicated less and less real estate to comic strips and put less and less value on it when people enjoyed that escape. So do you guys have in the Philippines like newspapers and deliveries and things like that containing comic strips?
Well, every time I get my hand on any newspaper, I would just go direct to those comic strips, and it would vary depending on the paper. At the very least, there's probably 2 pages. That's it. But I think on Sundays there'll be a bunch of them, and some of them would be even colored.
Yes. Yeah.
So I noticed that's it. The as time went on, it was less and less. But yeah, there's still and then there's books also, collections in the bookstore. So
okay, so you had many of the same things we had as well, because like I grew up with Garfield as well, and all the characters you mentioned, and the ones that I tended to collect in treasury form or collections in trade paperback were Garfield, The Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes. So yeah, those were always fun. Welcome, Jimith.
Hail.
How's it going, folks? Thanks for dropping the link, mods. Frog G, appreciate you. Octopus Cowboy. Yeah, this looks like an awesome book. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you said there wasn't a whole lot to do other than
well, there were cartoons, but this is the 70s. I was very young in the 70s, and as everybody was, I guess, with my age. But there was this cartoon that I loved. It was a Japanese robot cartoon called Voltus 5, and this was in the Marcos administration days, and it was banned. And they just took it off the air for political reasons or something. I think people were associating the bad guy with that administration. I'm not gonna go into politics. I don't go here or there. Okay, on that, I'm not gonna go. But yeah, I found that out like just a few years ago, and I was so bummed when that now I found out why. I was so bummed when that they took that off the air.
Oh, so it really was about because they felt
Very limited.
Oh,
Everything's limited. The television station. But I just found out details about it later on. It's like the major channels, a lot of it was gone. Radio. So, like what I said is that the media is very limited. So the fact that even a cartoon like that, seemingly harmless.
yeah.
So your imagination. Sometimes you have to, when you draw, you make up your own stuff, and figure things out, right? And I only had 2 pieces of American comic books when I was a kid. I only had Captain America and Iron Man. That's it. I don't mean 2 subscriptions. I meant 2 pieces of comic books, and I read that every day and tried to figure out everything about it.
How do you acquire those?
No, those they were they were in supermarkets.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, the distribution amazingly was good for those, more than now.
So
newsstands.
Only 2 titles were in the newsstands at the time.
No, that's what I was able to get my hands on.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's all I got.
Oh, all right. Did you sometimes go to the grocery store and just hang out at the rack to read them right there in the store?
No, I didn't. I just, when we pick it up, that's it. Of course, I browse through it.
Right.
Some of them, I think, were in plastic.
Okay, all right.
As it would be in those days, I guess, over there.
Oh, all right. Cool. Jimith says the comic looks great.
Thank you.
What made you pick an octopus?
Oh boy. This wasn't for me, Octopus Cowboy. This was supposed to be for a friend of mine.
Really?
And yeah, he's a very good artist. Loves comics. Never got to draw for the comic book industry a lot because he has a regular. He was still in the studio where I left. We were together in New York City for about. I was an artist in NYC Studios, the name of the studio, and I always admired his artwork. And he's just solid artist. And when the pandemic hit, this COVID-19 thing, I had a lot of time, and so I'm here in the Philippines. I message him, and I say, "Because how's everything going there? Because I'm hearing all these bad things, like especially in New York." And I was like trying to find out how he's doing, and I asked him, man, what would you like to draw? In what genre do you like? If you were to do a comic book, and he said Western, and detective noir, and when he said Western, I was like, wow, okay, Western, I can do that. I can come up with a Western, with a character for this Western comic book. And as soon as I stopped messaging him, like within 2 minutes, this octopus came up, and I started sketching it, and I was reluctant to say I didn't embrace it right away, but as with a new idea, there's peaks and valleys, and the peak was high, and I said. And I started searching the internet. Has anybody come up with anything like this? Has it been nothing close to it whatsoever? No narrative, no comic book, no movie, and nothing. Oh, okay. So is this a crazy idea? Is it so out there that why nobody thought of this? And I said, but I kept drawing it. I kept sketching it. I kept developing it, and when I did, I said, okay, I got a character. am I gonna give it to my friend? And as I was thinking, well, how is he gonna do this? How is he going to draw this? He has a regular job, and I doubt that he would have the time for it. And I don't know if this is the type of Western he was thinking about if I were to give it to him. So I said to myself, you know what? I'll try to do it because I have a lot of time. Really have a lot of time. So I drew it. I did it. Excuse me. And and you know what? I haven't drawn comics for a long time. For many years, actually. I moved on from it because it took so much out of me. Health-wise, my eyes are bad. I mean, my glasses are thick. I got contacts now, and I would spend hours just staring into the screen because we use Wacom tablets in the studio. I mean, from the first Wacom tablet that came out, we went from physical media to digital, and all the artists got a Wacom tablet, and so you'd be staring at that thing all day. Well, no, the display tablets.
Oh, okay. The other
Yeah, it's like staring at this monitor all day, right? And just right in your eyes, and it's a sedentary lifestyle. You're always sitting down. You're not outside, and I wanted to get away from that. Say, oh, I'm done with comics. I don't want to draw comics anymore. But here I am, spending more time than ever, penciling, inking, coloring, lettering, and writing it. So it took a while for me to accept it, but lately I love it. I mean, I love it. I'm telling you, the moment I wake up and I work on the book, I don't even play video games anymore. I don't play video games. I don't watch a lot of movies. I just draw. If I have anything on, if I listen to music, I'm drawing. And even drawing a horse. I never drew so many horses as I've been doing lately. I don't like drawing horses. I don't like drawing. I've never drawn enough. I didn't draw an octopus before. I probably drew an octopus less than 10 times in my decades of existence. And and I love it. I love drawing the horse now. The horse, because the thing is, it can be stiff because one of the horses, Casey, it's his horse, and she's a supporting character, a very important character. And you have to have some personality in there also. You can't just make it stiff because it's a character.
Right. True.
So all this time of drawing superheroes and babes and brawn and muscles and capes, now I'm drawing an octopus, lots of horses, guns, Civil War old West era guns, 1847 Colt Walkers and 1860 Spencer carbines. Oh my God, I remember all of them now. On every single angle. And I watched like so many videos online to research it. And I got into it so much that I spent so much time I loved the detail. I just wanted to get those details right. And I started enjoying it more than ever. I never enjoyed drawing comic books as much as I'm doing now. Not when I did DC Comics, not when I did when I did the Image, it was my character, so I enjoy that. But I gotta say, I really enjoy doing this one.
Nice.
Because
I'm gonna catch up on some chat here.
Yeah.
Riot Kitty, welcome. Octopus Cowboy. Jimmy says that's really cool. I love how everyone gets ideas. Yeah, me too. Darn tune. Welcome, Ellie. I have to say, when I heard about it, I thought, that's ridiculous. But after checking it out, it actually looks really cool. Good job. Yo, Frago. Jason points for the same headphones.
Whoa, cool.
Little frog. Yeah. So, rewinding a little bit. So, you grew up being really interested in comic strips, and you got a couple comic books that you read over and over daily. So, where did it go from there? I mean, did you eventually get a hold of more comics? And is that what inspired you to go into the comics industry in the first place?
Okay, well, in 87, in 86, there was a revolution here. It was the EDSA revolution, and everything was upside down, and it was nuts. We had a business we had to close. We had to decide. I guess my mom had to decide, where we would go, and it took us a while to go to the States. Actually, we could have gone to the States, I guess, in the 70s, but I don't know why we waited so long. Maybe we didn't have the money. Maybe it was, as I said, we were kept in the Philippines and we were not allowed. I don't know what changed. I gotta ask what the details are. But in 87, we eventually went to New York. Okay, and we landed in New York, and we were supposed to go to Jersey. Okay, I had no idea what these places are. Okay, but all I knew was New York City. So when we got to New York, I told my mom, "Mom, I was 13. We're in New York City. I think we better stay here because this, as far as I know, growing up in that little town, New York City is the place to be. So we gotta stay here." And you know what? For a couple of months, we shared a bunk bed in her friend's house in Flushing. Oh. And when I say a bunk bed, we didn't occupy one bed of each of the bunk bed. I'm saying we're on the bottom bunk bed, both of us. Oh. And my friend, my aunt's son was on the top bed. Was on the top of the bunk bed. You know what I mean? Right. We started out like that. And we kept moving like every year. Every year we'd move and move and move. The place would get bigger and better. And, I won't even describe the first few places we lived in, but it was hard. Comics, what drew me into comics? All I know is I was in high school, and on the way to the subway from Flushing High School, going to Main Street and then making a left to the number 7 train, there's a comic book shop right on the corner. Oh, all right. And I would spend my time after school going there. And I had a pull box. And I was a huge Valiant fan. This is the time when Jim Lee was big and McFarlane was big and Liefeld was big. But I was a Valiant fan. Although I did buy those books also. And I said to my high school friend, I told this girl, I'm going to be a comic book artist. And we were in McDonald's, and my high school friends around said they thought I was nuts. They thought that dream was so out there and unattainable, that they thought I was crazy. And I would say that to myself, and I would draw and write stories. And what happened was I would hear about I would go to conventions. Okay, and I got my portfolio ready so I can show it to professionals. So I think I was 15 or 16. Pretty sure I was that young. And I would go up to professionals with my portfolio. Okay, and the first guy that reviewed me was chewing tobacco. This old guy with gray hair. what silver hair, would be chewing tobacco, and as he was reviewing my work, bits of tobacco would fly out his mouth
Oh dear.
right onto my page.
Oh no.
Yes, and I remember I drew Wolverine versus Alien. That's what I drew. Okay, so he gave me a lot of encouraging remarks. He gave me a lot of pointers, and I was really nervous because he chew up the guy in front of me. Like he told this one, blah blah blah, the anatomy, perspective. And when it got to my turn, I was so nervous. I said, "This guy's gonna tear me apart." And he gave me, a wonderful review. All he said was, "Clean it up a bit." Okay, and you have to think about, is it logical? Also, I had a Daredevil page. Is it logical that Daredevil would fall that far and survive? That would Daredevil survive this fall? So he told me you have to be very careful, make it realistic. It has to make sense. These are superheroes, but you have to be aware of their powers, their limitations. Also, you can't break physics inside a page like that. Okay, there's still rules in this universe. That's what he told me. And so I kept refining my portfolio until I got a job.
Man. So did you get like hired on the spot at one of the conventions?
Oh, I got my first job was with Alex Simmons. He's an Archie Comics, DC Comics writer.
Oh.
I always credit him but I only got like 2 pages. He only paid me for 2 pages, but he teamed me up with another writer and we developed a book here, but nothing came out of it. So what happened was I moved on to another convention. I went to Philadelphia, a Philadelphia convention. So the usual I drove there. I think I had no sleep because I don't think I don't think I had a hotel or anything. I just drove there, and I had to drive back, and I think it was 27 hours of no sleep and that heavy portfolio lugging it around. But before that, yes, I went to the convention. I drove there, and I was showing my artwork, the usual round. I must make my usual rounds, and I was showing to this professional. And is reviewing my work, and then this tall guy came up right next to me and crossed his arms like that, and he was looking down at my stuff as this guy was reviewing me. And he goes to the guy, "Are you finished?" And the guy, who was reviewing my work, told him, "Yes, I am." And then he picked up my portfolio and closed it. And then he looks at me, goes, "Come with me." And then he takes it and walks across the hall, across the aisle. And I said, "Who the hell is this guy? Why did he take where's he taking my stuff?" And he goes to Crusade Comics. Okay? And Billy Tucci was there. And he had the whole setup. And he plops down my work right in front. And he goes, "Billy, check this out." And then he was looking through my stuff, saying, "Huh, very good. You did all this?" "Yes." Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from New York." "Oh, really? My studio is there." "Where in New York?" He said, "Queens." "Oh, I live in Queens. Why don't you drop by? Here's my address. Here's my phone number. It's far from the train station. So you call me up. I'll pick you up. I'll take you to my studio."
Damn.
That's how I got a job. And that wasn't it. The guy picks up my stuff again. And he goes to event where Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti was signing books. And he plops down my stuff. And he goes, "Hey," and he goes like, "This is good. So how did you do this one?" Because I did some space stuff, so I'm like, "This is Joe Quesada." You're asking me how I did? No, come on, man. It's a 1-point perspective, but I didn't say that. I said, oh well, I did this. Maybe he was just testing me. Well, I just picked a perspective, and it's consistent with all these buildings and the people and blah blah blah. And he goes to Jimmy. Hey Jimmy, I think let's get this guy. Let's give this guy something to do. But by that time, I was writing Crusade. I already said yes. So, and I think, you can tell that was a good convention for me. And by that time, Broadway Comics was around, by Jim Shooter. Oh, love Jim Shooter.
Jim Shooter.
And I don't think the guy who was showing my stuff around. I think that was it. And then I said, hey, thanks so much. I said, I don't even know your name. So and so after that, I went ahead on my own and I walked around and I got to Broadway Comics because this was Jim Shooter, but he wasn't there at that time, and I showed my stuff. And then they told me to come by, and then they got my number and all that. So I love that. That was a convention for me. That was the time.
Damn.
And when I was working in Crusade, I don't know if I gave the number to Crusade, but for some reason, Broadway Comics called me in Crusade. And one of the editors there said, when can you come by? I guess I gave the number out of where I worked, and then they called. And I got to Broadway Comics. I got to see Jim Shooter, my hero. Big guy. And he had a suit on, and I was talking to the editor. The editor was showing me around to the coloring room, to like the computer station, this and that. And Jim Shooter walks down the hall and stands behind the editor. You can tell a lot of people just stand behind me or in front of me, you know what I mean? And just so he just stands like that. And then I was thinking, oh my God, that's Jim Shooter. But I didn't like go giddy. I wasn't all giddy like a little girl. It's just like, it was nothing. It was like, oh, okay. I just nodded. I just nodded at me. That was it. I couldn't tell him how much I love this stuff. I didn't tell him how much I love Magnus Robot Fighter and how I read his editorials. I didn't tell him that. But I met so many people like that in those days. I saw Jeff Smith. I saw, George Perez. Dude, that was a great time, the 90s.
Wow.
So yeah, for me, that was the convention. Like I said, I remember driving back because I didn't have money for a hotel. I drove back with a friend of mine. It was snowing.
Oh wow.
I had to open the window because it was fogging up which helped me wake up also because I was getting really sleepy.
Oh man, long day at the convention. Holy cow.
Yeah, and I had to stop by St. Mark's and get some rest first, eat, drive back. That's it. So
Wow.
that was the one convention.
Let me get in some chats here. Ellie says, that's so freaking cool. You seem like an awesome
Thank
dude.
you.
Fried G says, great creator, great art, title that catches the interest, story that makes me want to read it, easy backing for me. Welcome, Badger Comics.
He's backer number one, Park G.
Cool. Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Oh my God, that is so cool. Did you ever find that girl and tell her your ID? Tell her you did become a comic artist?
Yeah, she went out with somebody else.
Oh, shucks.
I went out with her for a while, but she went with us. So no. But I did go. I did go to this bookstore once, and I love that bookstore. Where was that? I think it was in Jackson Heights, 82nd and Broadway, or something, or 79 something. This bookstore had like almost. It's like their shelves are useless because all the books are like in a pile in the middle of the whole freaking room. It's like a canyon, it's like pillars of books.
Oh,
I love that bookstore. I mean, it's not organized at all. And I remember that there was the cashier, the lady who probably owns it, and she had a guy, and they were talking about comics and how he wants to get into comics and how he wants to write. And they were like, it's just casual talk. And I kind of snuck in and said, well, if you get Frank Miller's blah blah blah, I gave just a little. I didn't say I was working for comics or whatever. I think this would be good for you to check out. And then they looked at me like, "Who the fuck is this guy? He doesn't know anything. Come on." They didn't pay attention to me. And then okay, I just paid for my book and I left. It's like that. Nobody would believe you. Nobody would believe you. Even now, people around me don't believe me. They just think it's it's just a casual thing.
I wasn't sure if I should tell you, Jason, but I don't.
Yeah. You don't?
I don't believe you, man.
You're in a big club.
Frog G says, "I'm telling you, this guy is great. The frog is wise.
The frog knows."
Yeah, indeed. Welcome, Badger Comics. Octopus Cowboy, I'm really stoked for. Though I'm interested to see how he manages to stay out of water so long without dying. Gonna be awesome. That's a good point.
A typical octopus will only survive, oddly enough, 8 and some odd minutes outside of water. A Pacific octopus would. This octopus we have right here was revived by the sea. And he is transformed. Although that is still his weakness. He still needs a lot of water to survive, and he lasts longer than the usual octopus. But he's changed. He's highly evolved, I would say. I should say mutated, but it's more natural to say highly evolved. That's his weakness, but he could last a day. And also his muscles are a lot stronger than usual. Because those guns are heavy.
No,
Pure steel. Yeah. So, yeah. That's how he survives.
Nice.
And the story is, will he find anything different in land as opposed to his experience enduring the sea? Would it be the same predator versus prey? The thing is, he's so confused. If you think about it, he's never seen the sky or the sun, or in that matter even. And it's like, and the desert or rocks, his experience is new. He's like an infant. And things that are happening to him, it's confusing. Because it seems like these people do things they would kill not for food, or they would hurt you not to survive. There's all these complex reasoning behind humanity that he's being exposed to. And what happens is one of the worst guys in the world captured him and used him in blood sport, fighting other animals. What does that turn him into? How does that experience imprint onto him? And what would happen when he escapes? So that's the story. You'll say Octopus Cowboy, and it's gonna be it's superficial. It's a gimmick. Not when you read the story, not when you treat it seriously and try to make sense of it.
Let me see here. I like Hunter S. Thompson glasses.
Thank you.
Octopus Transcended. It's so awesome that you have thought through all these details down to gun weight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to.
So you mentioned that you made this book for your friend. Had you and your friend been bouncing around ideas on wanting to do a comic book together for a long time? and then it just came to be that your friend was just too busy to dedicate time to it, and then you just took the lead. Is that what it was?
I don't know, not really. I always had them in the back of my mind just because I learned when I was in the studio with him. He was an avid comic book collector, and he helped me find whenever he would buy something, he would show it to me, and then oh, that's cool. And I got into comics, the comics that he likes. So he kind of, because when I was working there, I also did side jobs. I was also a freelancer. I would freelance still for DC Comics, and so he was kind of interested in what I'm doing, and but as when going back to, did we bounce ideas around? Not really. I'm very tight-lipped on my ideas. I keep it to myself. I really don't bounce ideas around. If it's out already like this, I would, when I talk with, like the way I'm speaking now, and I share it to somebody, the very fact that I'm interacting with another person helps me gauge the quality of the idea, and then I would take that feedback and see what I can do to improve it in a way.
Mm.
But talking with another creator or a writer or an artist about ideas, I don't do that too much, because I kind of want to do it myself, and I don't want it to be steered this way or that. But the very fact of the interaction alone, that helps me a lot. But no, I didn't talk to him about other ideas. But if, like, when I did my image book, it's Retro Rocket. I did that with Tony Bedard, and then I told him about it. But it was already out, so I don't really bounce ideas around with other people.
So your friend worked with you in the industry?
Yeah, he worked we worked in advertising. That's what we did in the studio. We did storyboards, comps, animatics. I would storyboard a Listerine commercial, and I would see it on TV like the next day, or the next week.
Wow. That's been a neat feeling.
Yeah.
Quote, I had to, quote, sounds like you're in a great mindset.
Thank you.
I have to go to bed. I'm sorry. I have even more respect for Octopus Cowboy now. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Awesome. Take care. See you, Ellie. DJC. Welcome. Good morning.
Morning.
Hello, hello. Sweet. So you go in. How long would you say it took to create Octopus Cowboy? From conception to, nailing down what you wanted out of it, and the concept, the characters, and all that good stuff.
When I came up with it, I came up with a story, I developed the story, and I drew maybe 52 pages of what I thought an Octopus Cowboy would be like, But I threw away those pages. I threw them away. I could use them probably. I'm talking about just roughs, and just to see how he moves, just to see how he would fight. Writing it down, it's not enough. You really have to draw it and see how he sits on the paper. How does he walk? How does he, and so that's how I developed it, by drawing it and writing a lot. I wrote a lot of it too. It probably took, to solidify it, maybe 6 months. But but until now, I'm refining and refining it.
Mm.
I came up with it last year, probably end of February, and by March, April, I was drawing it already. You know, I ran with it. All the while, really trying to even find a better name. I said, "Are you kidding me? Am I really gonna draw a comic book named Octopus Cowboy? Isn't that so too simple?" But the more I drew it and the more the story developed, it's so fitting. And I can't even tell you now because the story's planned all the way through. But that title is perfect. It's perfect. And I hope I get to explain exactly why it's so when the other books come out. Because this is a series.
Nice. Yeah, that actually is a good title. It gets to the point, it tells you what you need to know, and doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
Have you watched a lot of Westerns? Is that something you're interested in? Westerns? Or have you read Westerns type books?
I love Westerns.
Oh, cool.
I love Sergio Leone,
Oh,
The
man.
Man with No Name, Dollars Trilogy, Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And of course, from there, you move on to the Clint Eastwood era, High
Yeah.
Plains Drifter, Outlaw Josie Wales, Hang 'em High, and then after that, I went backwards to Stagecoach and what was that? Gary Cooper, High Noon, and yeah, and The Searchers. You know, you jump back and forth because there's some good newer ones also, like Pretend to Yuma, Unforgiven. I love westerns. So, and the music, Ennio Morricone,
Hell,
I draw to that every single day.
that's just beautiful music.
Yeah.
Did they actually even have Westerns in the Philippines, or did you get exposed to Westerns after you moved to New York?
Yeah, the Good, the Bad, and the Sergio Leone movies, they were big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Good thing they weren't like giant robots, or they would have been banned also. But they would show that. That was fine.
That's interesting. Well, at least they seem to have some good taste there. Man, that's still a bummer that they banned giant robots. That's weird. Let's check out this beautiful looking project here called Octopus Cowboy.
Thanks.
And by the way, if you guys haven't had a chance or aren't able to, please consider sharing this all over social media. Share the stream, share the campaign. Let's get them fully funded. And for those of you who've already backed, thank you so much. Appreciate your support. If you backed it, consider backing again. Consider getting copies for your friends and family. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady. So let's check out this artwork. What is your how did you tackle this project? Do you start with like a rough outline with the major beats in it, of the story, flesh it out a little, and then jump into the drawing of it so you can get a feel for how it'll look visually, and then jump back to the story since you're doing a lot of the writing and as well as the art?
I would rough out the pages. I would not write per page. My script isn't about every single page in detail like that. It's just the whole spine of the story. And if I write anything, it would be bits and pieces of dialogue that would be, integral to the story. And I would write the synopsis and a summary and a log line, the least amount of words as I can to condense everything. And that's to identify the theme. And then from there, I just draw. And I'm on the stage now where, as I finish roughing it out, the dialogue is already there. So the more complete a page is, it's not just complete art-wise, but the dialogue is there already. So everything's there. And I would cut it by scene also. The first scene, introduction, shows you his weakness, his goal, tells you information about him through his actions, and then the next. And I would treat them as, as stages, as scenes. I would just cut them to those important parts. But those scenes are there because the whole story is written down and it's in my head already. If ever I add pages or take pages out, it's because of the pacing, or I would think that an important scene has to be here. So everything works, it's simultaneous for me. The writing and the drawing, it all comes together, and it's done at the same time.
Nice. As you were doing your research on Octopi, did you do your research over the internet, or did you actually spend some time going to zoos that had octopi?
Right now, all I researched was in the internet. But yeah, I saw them when I was a kid and stuff like that. But no, I didn't go to any particular place to see it in person. Everything, the bulk of it is in the internet.
Yeah, you got really good with horses too. All the musculature. Man.
This was fun. So this is one of the earliest drawings of it that I made. It's probably the first week. And when you see what I mean? Anytime I have a doubt, I look at this. I look at what, and I said, okay, this deserves years of my life to devote to. I said, okay, I'm gonna do this because it's not a light decision. This I already reconciled with the fact that I have to do this for at least 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
This series, because yeah,
you're in it.
So every time I said, okay, I've never seen this anywhere out there. I'm gonna do this. So
yeah, now's a good time to do it. Oh wow, check that out! Oh my gosh, welcome, Lidl. Uwu.
hey,
Good to have you. Oh my gosh, so cool.
thank you.
Is it part black and white and part color, or are you showing what the inks look like?
I just showed the inks.
All right.
Yeah, it's all in color.
Oh, nice. One of the coolest things about Octopus is like when you go to zoos and stuff and aquariums, they so often show like a video of how the body, the whole creature is so nimble and flexible that it can squeeze itself down through a very, very tiny hole tube and slide into the smallest crevices.
Yes.
And it's freaking amazing.
And as simple looking as this harness is, I've thought of that too. I said, he can just squeeze through anything. You know what I mean? But then again, he wouldn't be able to hold guns for so long. He wouldn't be able to survive. So he doesn't, he can't do that. He maybe if ever, it's very, very limited. That's not how he's composed of, how he's made. Because a typical octopus will just get away from this so fast. But I had to come up with a harness that would keep him, so it goes all the way around. It's locked in the back.
Let's see. Ooh, the artwork is dope.
Thank you.
Indeed, Daniel. Octopi is a plural. Yeah, I might have used the wrong tense in my grammar. Be right back. So when you're both a writer and an artist, do you find it does it feel more freeing where, you don't necessarily have to go back and forth with another person? Like if your heavy focus is on the art and you're working with another person who's doing the story,
Mm-hmm.
The storyteller, the writer gives you what they're looking for. You draw it, you show it back to the writer, see if that matches up with what they're looking for, and then you do a little back and forth give and take. Do you find things to go smoother and faster when you're both the writer and the artist?
Well, if the thing is, if it's a gig, so when the writer, if I'm just the artist, it's a lot faster to just do the art because you're just translating what he would want. But if you're coming up with something on your own, I guess it's more demanding. Also, the idea is just bouncing inside your head, your own head. You know what I mean? But there has to be a certain level of not only commitment, but you have to be sure of the idea. It has to be really, really solid before you go through with it. I sometimes when the story goes a certain way, I can somehow sense it. I would stop. I won't be able to go through with it. It tells me there's something I have to figure out. Doing everything your own, it takes a lot longer. It takes a lot longer because especially depending on your goal. Okay, like I said, it could have been a really simple story, really simple, but I kind of wanted it to be really special. So I guess it depends on what your goal is. But it's of course it's a lot smoother, and there's no drama. If there's no disagreement, so I'm only disagreeing with myself. And when you're working with another writer and you're collaborating on, like I was a co-creator in my Image comic book with Tony, and I would say this dialogue shouldn't be here, or I don't think this should happen, or and then so I would wait for his response, and we have to be like-minded, and we have to agree on the direction. So there's the conflict would be just doing the work, No external conflict with another person that I'm working with.
Gotcha.
It's not necessarily easier.
Is there a reflective moment when he looks at a regular octopus and thinks, damn, wish I could do that?
What would Octopus or Slade is his name? What would Slade say when he looks at another octopus? He would see how simple was life for him before all this. Because he's so changed and he's so different and he's trying to survive. And of course, he has this intelligent spirit within him now. It's like if before he didn't even think about death or anything at all. He wouldn't think of, it's not complex as it was his life before, you know. So I think that's what he would be thinking. Maybe he would wish to be, not that he could do what that octopus, but he could be what he was before, you know. Because it's a lot, the life for now for him is a lot different. Because also the more that he adapted to land and the more he was changed, he really can't survive in the ocean as much also anymore. He can't really go back. So, and there's actually a part in the story where he tries to go back. He can't go back. He can't last long anymore.
No going home.
Nope, there's no going back.
Wow. I love this image. And
Thanks.
the way you shaded it and everything, or inked it. That's cool.
Yeah. So this is in progress. And this is pretty much updated. This is how much I've done already.
Wow. Geez.
I have a lot done already. I want to fulfill on time. If I can, I want to fulfill early. Okay.
Yeah, seriously. That's the way to do it. Oh, Frog G, later on, need to hop out. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks for dropping the links, man.
Thanks for dropping by.
Take care. Oh, man. So if you were to translate this into like a percentage done on the whole project, how far do you think you clock it in at?
If I take out the proofreading, the editing, and whatever revisions, well, I have till May 2022, so I have a lot of time. But I think I'd say it's 35%. I wouldn't rate it high. I know, like physically, with the snapshot, it looks a lot higher than 30%.
Uh-huh.
But nah, man, when you do comic books, it's even the placement of the word balloons, the speech balloons, and captions, and everything. It changes so much because that's a visual element in your panels now, and you have to be very careful. A lot of that editing needs time.
Yeah, for sure. Right Kitty says, gotta go clean house. See you guys.
Yeah.
Take care, Right Kitty. Thanks
Also, you gotta be sure that it's printed. When it's printed, it's not too dark. So you gotta check your values, the color values, and all that. That stuff we can't see here. That's a lot of almost post-production stuff before it goes out the door.
Are you referring to when you're making sure you're printing according to the printer specification? I mean, you're doing your layout according to the printer specifications, whether it be RGB or CMYK?
Yeah.
All right.
The value, the level, because this is RGB. And then when you switch to CMYK, the colors get a bit desaturated, or it changes a little bit. And then from there, when it goes to the printer, it's darker also. So you just got to lighten it up and then boost up the saturation a little bit, but not too much, because some colors would bleed over each other, you know, especially the blues and the greens.
So how will you know how do you predict what the final product will be? I mean, your final book is it going to be in a PDF format? Because PDF was designed by a graphic artist, if I remember, to be what you see is what you get, WYSIWYG. So when you see it in PDF form, that's what the layout's going to look like. That's what the color is going to look like, if I remember. Is that how it works? Or do you just kind of experiment and get as close to what you think it needs to be, send it to the printer, get a proof copy, and then adjust accordingly?
I would get in contact with a printer. I would ask for their specifications. I would test print maybe 10 pages first. I would have that shipped to me, and I would check that, and I would adjust accordingly. The 10 pages would have to be a wide range of what the project consists of, from the darkest part to the lightest, the one with the most colors and the most complex, with a lot, the most. So that's what my plan is, and just to tweak according to what I get.
Awesome.
That's what I'm gonna do, and then even after that, as soon as I finish the whole thing and I think everything's fine, I will have the whole book printed and then sent back to me, and then I will review it. And if it's fine, then I would proceed with printing the entirety of the project.
You mentioned previously that when you're in the comics industry, in mainstream, your eyes got bad because you're constantly working not only in a sedentary environment, but you are also using tablets that had the screens on them.
Yeah.
Right? Have you since changed your setup? I mean, for example, instead of the one with the screen in it, do you switch to a tablet where instead of looking down at the tablet, you're looking instead on a monitor at the software there, and then drawing on a tablet with no screen?
Oh no! When I said from physical media, we drew on a Wacom tablet. It was a Cintiq tablet, so it was right on the monitor. I don't have an experience with just a tablet like on the table. I always draw on the monitor. It was a pen display monitor, and when back then I used to draw on a 15-inch. Now I draw on like a bigger Wacom tablet. So I got older, and the tablet got bigger. And so I guess the screen technology is much better now, and I really don't have a choice. And even if you drew on a Bristol paper like I used to, I would also use a light box. So you would still look directly at all this so much light. And man, because I'm gonna do some physical art also right now, because I'm gonna do some of these pages on paper, or because some people are requesting for original art, which, all right, fine, I'll do that.
Right.
In those days, the light box was like this thick. So I was looking at shopping online. Do you know they have like paper thin light boxes now? They're LED strips of like. This is unbelievable. It's awesome. Yeah.
I knew they'd gotten thinner, but I didn't realize
they have it. They have it now.
My gosh.
I said, well, I guess I don't have to replace the fluorescent bulbs underneath anymore.
Oh wow.
Because that's what I used to use.
Lidl says, I've had one before. It's a learning curve. Yeah, I mean, the one I'm using now is basically a tablet only.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the only style I've had exposure to. I've never gotten
that would demand a lot more eye-to-hand coordination.
Yeah.
Drawing on that instead of just the monitor.
And
but I probably could get used to it too.
yeah, since you work digitally, do you like some artists say that they pick up a screen protector that has a special surface on it, so that as you're dragging the stylus, it gives you the feel, the texture, as if you're drawing on paper or on Bristol board. Do you use something like that too?
Nah, I just draw on the Wacom tablet as it is. I don't draw because I've sketched on an iPad Pro also, and it's like it's glass. It's so slippery. So when I when I use the Wacom, it's a big difference, and I don't mind. I've been doing for so long. I don't mind anymore.
Right.
But I'm so excited actually of drawing on Bristol again, and I went all crazy. I ordered so many supplies, like everything. I still got my pencils and my sharpener, but I just everything new. I want new stuff, and I want to get into it again. So
nice. That's really cool. Going back to your roots.
yeah,
I've got two light boxes, an A4 and an A3 size one.
I'm gonna get the A3. Yeah,
they're really thin. Oh man, I gotta consider that because I was still living in the Stone Age, thinking that they were still pretty thick and heavy. The canvas has kind of a grain to it. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I would need something like that myself.
I would expect that if you put like a screen protector and you want it rougher, depending on your nib, if it's felt or the plastic regular ones, it would really, it would like keep changing that because it would just keep being rubbed off, you know. Especially
Right.
the felt ones are very soft, and I think my felt nib didn't last me a couple months. I think, you know.
Wow. So this is your first campaign, right?
My first one, yeah.
So how did you do a lot of research on other campaigns, looking for campaigns that were kind of in the vein of what you were shooting for, and then kind of modeled after that, or did you like have some background or experience doing crowdfunded campaigns?
I researched a lot, and what is the suggestion, the popular method, it seems, was you should start a YouTube channel for a year. This is what your boy Zach says. You should start a YouTube channel for a year, get some following, and then launch your campaign. But there's a lot of things though that I should have done, you know, as it seems, for this crowdfunding model to succeed, and that's one of them. But I thought that would just, for me, okay, it would just take so much time away from me doing the book itself. I started this when I launched this campaign. When I pre-launched it, I think I had like 12 Twitter followers. I had 10 YouTube subscribers. I had virtually no social media presence. And all I had was my work. That was it. I'm just banking on the work.
Mm-hmm.
The story is the secret weapon of this book.
The special sauce.
I have, you see, art is easy to show. And, you know, it's easy to show if it's good or not.
Yeah.
Easy. But I don't talk about the story a lot unless, you know, it's about to give a general idea of it. But as far as the quality of it and all the details, I can't tell you that because you're not going to believe me how good it is. You're not. But as much as I've been drawing, I've been writing, and I'm a self-taught artist. And when I was already a professional, I went to School of Visual Arts to get better at sketching, life drawing, And at the same time, I took writing classes. And I had the best professor ever. I had Dennis O'Neil as my teacher, the great editor-in-chief of DC Comics, Batman himself, Dennis O'Neil. And everything he taught me is still with me. And it was a great foundation. But even before that, I would spend hours writing. And I caught the writing bug. I mean, there were years that I would just write and write and write. And I actually have an unpublished fantasy novel with like 110,000 words in it.
Oh, wow.
I love to write. And
cool.
I don't usually talk about the writing part. I think when it comes out, I think that's the only way you could see if it has merit at all. Okay? Because, but yeah, the writing is the secret sauce.
Yeah.
So when I started this campaign, all I had to choose my path. And the one I chose is a lot harder. And it will take a lot more. Because nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows much about me. And I don't have a YouTube channel, as was your boy Zach's advice was. So I really just started out. So I figured that's the strategy that I would concentrate on and stick to. I know this is going to take years. But if I get this book out, I get it out on time, and it's good, and people are excited, and it meets and exceeds their expectations, I hope. My job is done. And it would cover all of those other things that I should have done and prepared for this campaign.
Yep.
My campaign is very simple. I mean, I barely have any stuff here.
Yeah, well, for a first campaign, that's usually recommended because you don't want to overwhelm people. You want to just give them the hardcore basics of what you want to get out, which is the book. Because on a first go, it can be overwhelming for a creator dealing with all the logistics of all this extra swag and stuff. It's great, but it's added. It can be added stress.
Yeah.
Your campaign is a $6,000 fixed goal. So as a fixed goal, if it doesn't fund, I mean, we're going to do everything we can to get it funded. Then it gets auto-refunded to all the backers. Can you kind of shed some light on how you came up with the number 6,000? Is it predominantly the cost of the shipping company plus the shipping and handling?
I know that the algorithm would be in my favor if I made it a lot less. And that's another thing that people told me. And the research said that you shouldn't set it high. You should achieve at least 30%, at least on the first week. You should, if I set it at $500 and it got funded right away, the algorithm would favor me, and it would always be on the first page or second or third. The figure, as I was typing the figure, I wanted 3,000 because I thought it would be easily achievable because it's my first campaign. Nobody knows about me much. And then hours before, when I was going to launch it, I said, okay, 5,000. And then my wife opened the door and she asked me something. I said, hey, I said, okay, I chose 5,000. What do you think? She goes like, that's it? You've been working a year on this. I said, it doesn't matter if it's even, 20 or 30,000. It wouldn't. It still wouldn't be worth what I put on it. Come on. My page rate is this and that. But I didn't go through all that. I said, okay, fine, I'll make it 6,000. And she didn't say anything. She closed the door. I said, I can't make it more than 6,000. I'm not gonna be funded. So that's how I came up with it. It was just a feeling, and I said, I think I can hit that, maybe, but I wanted 3.
Oh, okay, all right.
I wanted 3. I settled with 5, and then it got bumped up to 6.
Negotiations.
Yeah.
Yeah. The like you said, if you have it lower, then you can take advantage of that algorithm. But at the same time, you really have to account for your costs. You don't want to put yourself in the red or too far into the red. A lot of creators who are crowdfunding, they don't have the money to pay for everything up front, so they rely on the funding. So unless you have some kind of follower base, or fan base, if you will, a following, I guess, is more accurate. Then you, as a first timer, you want to try and get somewhere realistic, something close to your break-even point.
Nothing makes sense with this, man. It will not make sense until 3 or 5 years from now. If I'm lucky, by next year it will make sense to me and to you and to everybody else.
Really?
This is a 107-page book for $25.
Shit.
With artwork consistent with the cover. I'm doing the interiors. Look at the interiors, man. Does this make sense to me? This doesn't make sense. It will only make sense a year from now, at least.
Are you
Are
you aiming for all the volumes of Octopus Cowboy to be 100+ pages?
All succeeding volumes? Actually, the next one is already roughed out. I have like 79 pages of book 2 roughed out already.
Wow! Oh man!
Because I want the narrative to be tightly to be tightly knit. I want it to be strong throughout.
Yes, for sure.
This story is planned out. It's well planned.
That's nice. That's what I love to hear. The passion behind the creator, the planned out stories. Yeah, for sure.
I did not plan to do this. I did not plan to go back into comics. I did not. I did not. The rule. I did not.
Were you planning on going back to? Hold on a minute.
Go ahead.
I close my door and window because it's starting to rain again. So, were you planning, instead of going back into comics, were you just going to continue doing commissions or go into something else? Can you still hear me?
I can, yeah.
Oh. So if you
I'm practically retired.
Oh, okay.
Basically. And all I was doing was writing, write. I was doing writing. I wasn't drawing. I was writing, playing my guitar, messing around a bit. That's why I said I had time. All right. I had time. I was spending my time avoiding drawing. Like a few months before, I said to a friend of mine, associate of mine, I don't want to draw because I pitched like an idea for a film, okay, and I had to draw the what do you call this? Some storyboards and some presentation decks. I said, dude, I don't want to draw. I'm done with drawing. I don't want to draw. I don't even have a tablet anymore. I was drawing my iPad. You know, I don't have an art. Nothing. You know, the other day I was digging through my supplies and my blue pencil carbons had molds in it.
What?
That's how long I have not drawn.
Oh
okay.
My gosh.
I didn't want to draw anymore.
Oh, dang. All right.
So it had to be something special. It had to be. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So there's no the thinking about, oh, I need this much to print. Dude, I didn't even think about any of that. The figure is there as not only for me, it was for me to gauge the interest in the idea. It was for me to see if people will get excited at all. You know, I did not expect anything. That 6,000 figures there, you know, it was last minute to reach that figure. I didn't factor any of that, and I researched all of that. I know. Before that, I looked at the shipping. I looked at, because you have to, because I have international shipping also. I looked at the printer, everything. I looked at all the costs. 6,000 would cover it. Yeah, depending on how many orders. Yeah, it's more than adequate. But even with those numbers in the back of my head, that was not the driving factor. It's all this I'm doing. That's just to gauge the interest, really. You know, and I chose a fixed goal because not only because it's consistent with my goal of giving confidence to a potential backer. This guy is serious. He chose a fixed goal, and if it doesn't reach it, you know, nothing happens. Because if you choose flexible, an artist, not that it's a bad thing, okay? If it's part of what you want to do, an artist could just say, "Hey, man, you know, I didn't reach my goal, right? So I can take my time, this or that." But if I chose fixed, it will give more confidence to a potential backer out there that it's all or nothing.
Right.
But that's what I thought that the differences between flexible and fixed.
Cool.
Because also I like to see that green bar filled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It says you really got backed. If it's flexible, you would think, oh, wait a minute, did this guy fulfill? Is he required to fulfill? There's too many questions. Too many questions.
Yeah. There's some creators who, like, they've already completed the book or it's very near completion, or they're just, like, bringing out a trade paperback of issues they previously released. And they do flexible goal as a means of saying, all right, no matter how well this performs, whoever backs is guaranteed I'm going to release it no matter what. So that's another perspective on the flex goal idea. So Daniel says, damn, getting jealous of the tablets, Lidl. I have my little A5, but then I'm a software dev and artist, so Lidl only has a screen tablet and an iPad Pro. The others are light boxes. Oh.
I love drawing on my iPad, bro.
Yeah, I probably, if I had one, I probably would enjoy it too.
Yeah, I mean,
I still have an iPad too. I don't know if any software is compatible with that anymore.
I love the yeah.
Lorenzo says the protagonist is both an octopus as well as a cowboy. Daniel says, first time I looked up Lightbox. I remember in high school art using those old school projectors that use light and mirrors to project a drawing onto a wall. Yeah. But would love a screen tablet. Yeah, an octopus of all greatness. Very cool. What is that? The flying money with anything I'm not following.
Yep.
Octopus Cowboy, yep. So it says 24 days left. How did you break out the campaign? Did you do, are you doing like 2 30-day rounds of funding and then going in demand? Are you doing one whole 60-day chunk of time in funding and then going in demand? How are you?
I did the 60 days, so there's no trick here. There's no extension. This is it. 24 means 24. I can't extend that. I don't think I can.
No, you can't. If you start at 60, then that's your cap.
That's it. No tricks.
We gotta get this sucker funded. And
suckers, yeah. Exactly.
That worked out really well. What is, let's see, iPad, iMac, money.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a fun book.
Thank you.
Expensive life. See, I always reason it this way. The money you pay up front for Apple products, you're not only paying for quality and reliability, and because they control software and hardware, you have better integration. And then the money you're paying for up front is also covering the fact you're spending less time than you would on a PC troubleshooting computer problems, working on removing viruses and malware, and stuff like that, upgrading hardware. But I can go on for a while on that topic. Yeah, so 24 days left. Once it is funded, do you plan on going in demand?
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I plan on going in demand.
So
I want to keep it out there as long as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, because the thing is, there's so many projects out there now that it's getting harder and harder for us promoters to find them all. There's just so much cool stuff out there, and
there are, yes.
This I would have to say is one of the best I've seen.
Thank you.
Would you let's see? So I took a glance at your little 6 thumbnails across the top. Are they there? It looks like they're all videos. Are they all trailers, or is the first one a trailer and then the next one like a drawing stream clip? This
one's a teaser. It's a lot. It's like sub 40 seconds something. This one's the full trailer. This is a teaser. A lot less, you know. This is the drawing process, a time lapse, and another time lapse. I didn't know I had so many time lapses there. And this is just an image.
Oh, nice. Hey, how about we watch the teaser and then we watch the trailer?
Teaser. Okay. You're the first guy you asked for the teaser. Thank goodness.
Before that, let's check out Daniel. Yeah, partly true, but I can't upgrade my RAM and SSD anymore. Yeah, because they are soldered in. Yeah, I hate when they're soldered in, but
Yeah, and the ports.
design, yeah. MacBook Pro 2018 with Touch Bar and only 256 gigs of space. I've always wondered what people thought of that Touch Bar. I didn't think it was a feature I'd ever use.
This is what I use also. I have a 2018 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. I hate that Touch Bar. It's useless. I hate that Touch Bar.
As soon as I saw that announced on the keynote speech, I was like, what? Why? Yeah, so but yeah, this looks so awesome. Octopus,
Thank you.
Fire, Cowboy. I hope the octopus is not cooking the cowboy. I still have a 2011 MacBook Pro XP. Yeah, I mean that's why I have a desktop. Most of my life I have not owned my own laptop until just a year ago. So I've got a Mac Pro Tower. It's got 12 core processing,
Awesome.
2.66 gigahertz, 64 gigs of RAM, 13 terabytes internal hard drive.
Holy cow.
1 gig graphics. So, yeah, when I built it, whenever I build a spec out a Mac Tower, I try and think long term because I plan on using it. I'd say plan on using it for the next 15 years. So I take the price I pay for it up front and then spread that across how many years, and that gives me an idea of how much value I got out of it. Use a MacBook Pro 2009 model until 2018. The fan was whirring like crazy. Yeah.
I miss those keyboards.
I wonder if you were able to open compressed air, if that would fix the fan whirring. Bruh, that thing costs a ton. Yeah, you were talking about, you touched on, you used to do some gaming. Well, my stepdad and I were big gamers for many years. And we would play so many of the same games together, like World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point at which, we're not getting any younger. I want to do something special. So one day I took a chunk of money out of my account and treated us both to identical Mac Pro Towers. And I pretty much let him have full reign of how he wanted to spec it. And I made mine identical so that neither of us can complain about having the advantage in networking gaming. So yeah, that's what we ended up doing. It's a trip. I'm so happy I did that. Yeah, let's watch this teaser.
All right.
Damn.
Okay, that's a teaser.
That's so cool. So are you the type of artist who can now, I mean, you're at that level where you're not laying down blue sketch lines or shapes or forms. You're just going straight into the drawing. You can visualize what you're going to put down, right?
Yeah. But well, you saw my whole process. That's pretty much it.
Damn. That's so cool. Yeah.
Because sometimes when I want to capture an expression, if I have to do a shape before that face or the expression itself or the gesture or the action line, it would be another unnecessary layer. I have to get directly to the essential of it. That's it. That's how I drew. You saw the woman. That's the whole process. There's no grid, nothing.
Man.
If the only time I would do a grid or check the proportions is after that sketch and those roughs, if I have to check the technicals of it. Is there something off? If by looking at the rough, I see something's off, I would do a grid of the face, the eyes, and I would check it, and then I would flip it. Actually, I would reverse it, the image. I would flip it horizontally and see if it looks good the other way. The grid, I don't do the grids anymore. I just draw. I draw the gestures and the features.
Sweet. Daniel says, that's so awesome, WyzGyz. And well, having family that also games with you too. Yeah, that's so much fun. Trailer's on fire. Yeah, that was a teaser. Let's watch the trailer, man.
Okay.
Countless miles away from the ocean, Slade struggles to survive from one pocket of water to another. Weak and weary, he's dragged to the ring, forced to fight in a vicious blood sport where animals are pitted against each other for entertainment. There, he faces off against the unruly hyena Kilroy and a hulking gorilla named Leopold. Unbeknownst to all, contact with Slade's blood alters Kilroy and Leopold's consciousness. Can Slade win over his newly awakened opponents? Will he break away from his chains? Can he continue to endure outside of his element? Should he escape death, one thing is certain. A cruel life awaits him in the unforgiving Wild West. If you appreciate good storytelling, captivating characters, a solid production, action, adventure, and mystery, this comic book is for you. My name is Jason Orfalis, a professional of 25 years as artist and writer. Much planning went to this project, and I have experience in every stage of producing a comic book. Your contribution will make this dream project a reality. Thank you for listening, and good luck on your own adventure.
Damn, that's awesome.
Thanks.
I especially like you got that scrolling image of several pages, and there's all this work in progress.
Time lapse.
Yeah, it's like, wow. It's like you took a bunch of different individual time lapses, slapped them on a page, and then set them on a scrolling.
Yeah, and you can see there were no blue lines or grids. As much as actually, people have been advising me to do original art on Bristol, and I'm going to do that. But with this, you get to see the process, and
Yeah.
huge disadvantage that I can't sell the original pages. I mean, that's a huge disadvantage, but that's why I guess I'm going to do partly some originals.
Yeah.
Depending.
If you haven't already seen, you'll find that there is a big community who's into original art. And
Yeah.
that includes me.
Yeah.
I really dig this stuff. I mean, it used to be when I was into comics back in the 80s and 90s, I never thought I would have the opportunity to take advantage of picking up some original art. But, now with Comicsgate, I do. So it's pretty epic. And hell yeah. I would love original art on Octopus Cowboy. It's such a cool, unique concept.
Thank you.
And the fact that the fact that westerns tend to be in desert scenes. Makes you wonder how is he going to handle the whole water thing? Is he going to like hop from well to well or stuff like?
Well,
so
he would stick close to the rivers.
yeah, that makes sense.
But then again, you can't always stick close to the river.
True.
What you said right there is conflict.
Mhm.
Right there. And that conflict is an element.
Yeah.
It's an obstacle. It's fertile ground to tell a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, that's sweet. You want to go over the tiers? These perks.
Sure. As with every
Fire Octopus.
That's right. As with every campaign, the first is the everything campaign. So this is Once Upon a Time in the West. I named the tiers on according to some films or my favorite films.
Oh yeah.
So that's you get all 3 covers: the trading cards and sticker and the bookmark.
All right, can I stop you here real quick? I gotta.
Sure.
Someone's knocking on the door. One moment.
Okay.
What was that? Oh, for what? Leak. Huh? Where was that? I didn't report one. Is there? Did you guys detect one up on the roof? Because I never called for maintenance. Oh. Hold on just a sec.
No problem. Yes, I'll play this clip while we wait. You're now listening to FreeFocus Radio. That was the new song from Aerosmith, They're in their experimental stage now. Here's another one. This is how to draw chains in 180 easy steps. Oh. Hey.
Hey. Oh, wow.
See, that's the process. I don't.
Man.
No grids.
All right, I'll be right back. I got to
Okay.
the repair guy. Sorry about that. I got to
Should I continue it?
Yeah, sure. Oh, you're using Procreate. Nice.
Yeah, this was before I bought a new tablet. Wacom tablet. I told you I didn't want to draw anymore. All I had was my 11-inch iPad Pro.
Yeah.
And I was drawing on it with Procreate, which is not even, sufficient for drawing comics, really. Because it has, for an iPad Pro, it only has 17 layers at 600 DPI.
17 layers.
Yeah, if it's 600, it's a huge file. So when I got my tablet, then I used Clip Studio. So this was the very, very early stages of this book.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Brian, come back to do it.
All right. I'll be right back. Let it keep going.
You have to keep your tracks clean. I'll come back and tighten up your line. I'll come back and tighten it up. You need to tighten it up. You have to keep your tracks clear. You have to keep them clear. You have to sweep them out. Or the track, it'll come off track. I'll come up and tighten your lock.
So that alone is what's preventing them from easily locking and closing.
And I'll bring some lubrication for your tracks.
Oh, all right.
All right, let me just show me the bedroom,
Oh, yeah.
please.
But so, how many layers do you typically use on a piece?
Yes, sir.
When
I'll
it's
be
fully
back.
colored?
Sir,
Yeah.
I'll be back. I have an office emergency.
Okay.
Oh, man. It gets up there, but maybe 30 layers?
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Sometimes much more. When I did Photoshop before, much more than that.
Well, I mean, when I look at your pieces, it seems like I'm picturing you're using maybe 2-3 layers at most. I'm not seeing where all these extra layers are coming from. I know you got ink.
Oh, when you color them, you would have your flats.
Oh,
And depending on flats for foreground, background, main character, and then each of that would have its shadow, and then you could put them in a folder, and then you could put some lighting on them, and it gets up there. So every element, the only time you can compress and condense and throw away layers is when you're near the end. And even then, I keep some sketches on it because I might be able to use it if I wanted the sketchbook one day and I want to print that and offer that. And so
are
this...
you using like a cloning tool for the chain? Or were you
No.
literally hand drawing all the little sections of the chain?
I was, because it's each link is on a different perspective. It's a different angle. If I ever use a cloning tool or copy and paste, it would be straight. A train that's going straight. Very rarely. And I don't trace pictures. If I trace it, it's my own work. It's my own sketch. It can easily see if it's traced, so it gets obvious a bit.
So when you're doing flats, you're actually doing flats for each character in the panel. You're not doing flats all on the same layer.
No, but later on I could merge those layers because it's just easier to do a new layer, and so that you can tweak also
Right.
the saturation without having to select each element. So many hours condensed in such few minutes.
Nice.
Thanks.
Wow. So the name of your imprint is Freeform Comics?
FreeFocus.
FreeFocus, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How did you come up with that?
It's so hard to come up with names with how did I come up with FreeFocus?
Yeah, that and the logo.
Yeah. Well, the logo is from my Instagram. It's just one of, I thought it was appropriate to pick that. And the FreeFocus, I have no idea. I would write down so many names to just pick one, And it was at one time Screenshot and so many other names like Antimatter Press. But FreeFocus stuff. You pick names. Usually, it's just a huge process of elimination.
Yep.
If a name is there and you've been using it for quite a while, and it's a big, it's a big deal, and a huge bother to try to replace it with something else, and it still just won't be replaced. That's the name, and that's how I pick. I'm pretty quick with picking names, and it would stick, and I would keep it. It's longer for me to justify and try to change it, like Octopus Cowboy, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fast, but for so many months I was trying to replace it, but it didn't get replaced. There was no other suitable replacement, so that's the name. So usually that's how I come up with things, trying to eliminate them, but they keep surviving, living on their own, and it sticks. Same thing with the FreeFocus.
In doing the character design for this book, was it pretty easy to come up with the character names?
That was easy too.
Oh.
Yeah. It just like Charlie Knox. This guy's name is Charlie Knox.
Uh-huh.
Said, there must be a Charlie Knox. I mean, come on, Charlie Knox? There's no Charlie Knox in fiction, I think. It's so hard to come up with names too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I have to.
But usually, if it flows, usually the first one, that's the one.
Yeah, I still kind of like how Marvel used to use. I forget the term behind it. The term for it, where you the first and the last name share the same letter. Yeah, I always thought that was a fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's check out these tiers, man. So you got your featured one.
Yeah. So there's Once Upon a Time in the West, which is everything. And for the international backers, as requested, Westworld, which is, robots. So that's the name I picked for the digital.
Huh?
And that's $15 PDF. And then the main cover is a fistful of dollars for $25. 107-page book.
Hoo-wee.
Okay, and then my favorite cover is for a few dollars more, and it comes with the sticker. It's the first sticker. First meaning it's the first ever sketch of Octopus Cowboy. This is where it began. And if I can scroll down quickly and show you that sticker, and that's it. That was him. First day. He had pants. He was a sheriff. Okay? That's how he looked like. I tried to make him look as human as possible, but I'm like, where's the fun in that? Come on. And so that's why very quickly, this is how he turned out. And so continuing from that is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly has Leopold and Kilroy, the gorilla, and the hyena, the two supporting characters. Comes with 3 trading cards.
3 trading cards, all right.
And this is something I included for retailers if ever somebody's interested. The Wild Bunch, which is 24% off.
Wow. Nice.
So, so they will be shipped on Gemini mailers, and I've been asking other creators, and they ship by media mail, but I'm planning on shipping on priority mail, just to have that extra security. So my shipping in the United States is $10. And that's because I'm also going to pay my sister, who insists on doing it. She didn't ask for anything, but she wants to do it. She's in California and said, I got to pay her something. So that's where the money is going to go. The mailers themselves, the labels, the printing out the labels, everything appropriate to send it out securely. That's the reason.
She's handling your fulfillment?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, how fun. A family affair. That's cool.
Because if I ship it out from over here,
yeah,
and I won't be back. I won't be back in the States for a couple of years. So, yeah, it's so like.
Are you back in the Philippines?
I'm in the Philippines right now.
Oh, I thought you were still in New York. All right.
No. I had a flight February, 3 hours before my flight. I canceled it because of this whole COVID thing.
Oh.
But my flight was to Portugal.
Okay.
But the thing is, I went back and forth to the States also, so I was semi-stuck. That's why I said I had time. I had time, so that's why I'm doing this. And that's the bookmark.
All right. So do the trading cards have anything written on the back?
I'm still trying to figure it out. They should, yeah. It will have something on the back.
Yeah.
Little history, maybe some statistics.
Yeah, either stats like power levels, strength, intelligence, speed, or a bio.
Yes.
And now this is just something, I really get into. Like, and some creators do this kind of stuff and others don't. But I like on when the swag when there's a little piece of information like at the bottom that indicates the issue and the page and even the panel, if you want to go that far, indicating their first appearance in the book.
Definitely.
Kind of like a throwback to the 80s, 90s comics.
Yeah, I still have those. Yeah, I have those cards.
Yeah, like
whole
if
set
you're,
of
if you're reading a book and you're following this particular storyline and they make a reference in the dialogue about this event, then there's like an asterisk. You look down at the bottom of the panel and it says, see Fantastic Four issue 44 or something like that.
yeah.
The references back to their first appearance
Origin.
really is stuff I'm really into. Is the bookmark going to have anything on the backside?
Yeah, it will have something on the back.
Nice.
So figure it out. I'm solely focused on the book, really.
Yeah.
The merchandise and everything is there, but you know they will have stuff printed on the back.
Cool. Man, what a cool campaign.
Thanks.
I really like it. For anyone who has backed the book, thanks so much for your support. Remember, we are coming to the last 24 days of this campaign. This is 60 days of funding. So we got to get this thing funded the rest of the way ASAP. Get this funded so that it can go in demand and see more eyeballs. It took a while before it got on my radar, and I'm glad I caught it while it was still funding. So definitely want to get more eyes on this because it's definitely a worthy campaign. If you've already backed it, awesome. Consider backing again. You never know how many family and friends would love to have this book as a gift. And back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady. If at this time you're unable to, maybe you can't afford it or you're waiting for your next paycheck, consider sharing it all over your social media. Yeah, definitely. Check out this book. Back it today. Now, you want to replay the official trailer once more?
Okay.
We wrap things up.
Countless miles away from the ocean, Slade struggles to survive from one pocket of water to another. Weak and weary, he's dragged to the ring, forced to fight in a vicious blood sport where animals are pitted against each other for entertainment. There, he faces off against the unruly hyena Kilroy and a hulking gorilla named Leopold. During their fights, unbeknownst to all, contact with Slade's blood alters Kilroy and Leopold's consciousness. Can Slade win over his newly awakened opponents? Will he break away from his chains? Can he continue to endure outside of his element? Should he escape death, one thing is certain. A cruel life awaits him in the unforgiving Wild West. If you appreciate good storytelling, captivating characters, a solid production, action, adventure, and mystery, this comic book is for you. My name is Jason Orfalis, a professional of 25 years as artist and writer. Much planning went to this project, and I have experience in every stage of producing a comic book. Your contribution will make this dream project a reality. Thank you for listening, and good luck on your own adventure.
That's it.
Sweet. That's freaking awesome. Really, really cool. Thank you so very much for sharing this.
Thank you for having me.
I am going to give you the floor. Would you share with the world how you can be found on social media?
You can find me at FreeFocus. That's FreeFocus Comics. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. As usual, you can find all my social media in the description of every stream. I wanted to thank everyone in chat for joining us. You guys are so awesome. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks to everyone who watches this on replay. And thanks especially to our very special guest, Jason Orphalos.
Thank you.
And I wanted to wish everyone an awesome day. We will see you on the next stream. Take care, y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Final guest that is the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sameti. The YouTube translation. WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.